What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 4 of Jay and Kramer. He's Jay, I'm Kramer, and we just talk sports, honestly.
Yeah.
Today we're going to just talk about awards.
Yeah, I retired the glasses, the shades. I thought about them, but I'm debuting my black Yankees jersey. I'm
That is a
really
cool
excited
jersey.
about this jersey. I got the inspiration from Kutch when I saw his post about the black Yankees. Got it a couple of days ago, so I'm debuting that today instead of the shades.
That's a nice jersey.
Yeah,
Love Andrew McCutcheon as
quality
well.
too.
Yeah, I was going to ask, at first, just looking at it without seeing what it said, I was like, is that like a vintage jersey?
Yeah, no, it's really good quality. Like it feels like what they really wore back in the day. So I might invest in a couple more of these jerseys.
Yeah. So we're just going to get into this. We're just going to predict the 3 major awards. So Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. So let's actually get started in the NL. And let's just start out with MVP. Let's just go straight for it. So who do you have as the NL MVP?
Yeah, so I mean, I look at MVP a little different than maybe not super different, but I just really value the value part of most valuable player. Like I don't look at it as who had the best year. I don't really even WAR. Like I get that really defines value, but I have a really hard time giving the MVP to somebody who is on a last place team unless they have like far and away the best year. You know what I mean? Like they put up an alien stat line, and we don't really have that this year. So, and it's tough giving guys awards like this based on 200 at bats, but they're gonna do it. So, for me, in the National League, I'm looking at a guy like Tatis, who has taken the Padres, who have been below mediocre for some years now. And as soon as he got called up, there was some excitement along with that team. And this year it's really coming to fruition. Obviously, they made some big free agent signings. They've made a lot of trades. We talked about the trades they made at the deadline. But I don't know, man. That guy, when you put him, it's the most valuable position in baseball. I guess you could argue starting pitcher, but of position players, shortstops are the most important guys on the field. And the fact that he's been an elite defender, he's a great base runner. He brings an energy to that team like we haven't seen in a while. Like he's very Lindor-esque when it comes to the energy that he brings to a franchise. And he hits the shit out of the ball. I just don't know what else you could ask for. Obviously, Mookie's having a great year. But you take Mookie out of that Dodger lineup, and it's still a really good lineup.
Exactly.
So I don't know. I think Tatis is my most valuable player in the NL.
I'd have to agree because, I mean, we all know the writers are just old people, so they just say, oh, who's the best player? But, I mean, you look at the actual name of the award, as you said, most valuable player. You take Tatis away from the Padres, they're not as good. He is their spark plug. He kind of keeps them all together and keeps them going. And it's you would assume that would be Machado, but Machado's – once Tatis came and took the league by storm, Machado took a back seat.
Yeah,
But,
Machado's still doing his thing, but there's something about that guy Tatis who just elevates everyone around him.
yeah, and I think I would say, I don't care that it's a 60-game season. I have full confidence Tatis would have been able to keep up the stat line for the entire year.
100%.
So I think we both can agree that it's going to be Tatis for the NL MVP. Now let's actually go to one that I know we're not going to agree on, the NL Cy Young.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you have?
Tell me who you have first.
So, of course, DeGrom's going to be in the top 3. I don't think he's going to win it.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in the top 3. I mean, I was looking at a site, and they actually said, they said for DeGrom, I don't think that, I would assume this is WAR, probably not. But the top 3 were DeGrom, Max Fried, and Yu Darvish. Personally, I would go with Yu Darvish because, I mean, he's just been insane. I mean, he's finally – I would say he's back to pre-Tommy John Rangers form that took the league by storm. I mean, literally every day he starts, at least 3 of his pitches are on Pitching Ninja. I mean, he had a 2-seam fastball that literally moved from inside on a lefty, which was a ball, all the way to the corner. Like, it went across the entire plate. I mean, he's just absolutely untouchable, and he's throwing all of his pitches well. Even when you get Trevor Bauer to compliment you, especially because he hates the Cubs. But I think you're gonna. I would have to give it to Darvish, but I want to hear what you got to say.
Well, okay, it's interesting you say that because I think that DeGrom is entering that time of his career where he's just so dominant that he's not going to get any more Cy Youngs, and like especially on the Mets. It's kind of like that Michael Jordan thing and like LeBron, where they deserve it every year probably, but they're not going to get it because you have guys bursting onto the scene or having surprise years, and it's more of like a shock value. And for me, I think I know that the person that I want to win it is not going to. That's Trevor Bauer. I think Bauer winning Cy Young could be such a huge like point of emphasis for like his case against the MLB. And when I say case, I just mean like his uphill battle of getting MLB players more freedom, the ability to market themselves. And I think because of that, I know he's not going to win. I think Darvish is probably having a better year than he is. But Bauer's been pretty unhittable this year too. He's had some memorable performances. And I just think it would be really cool to have a guy like that at the forefront of awards. It would be very ironic. But yeah, obviously everything you said about Darvish is absolutely correct. He's probably pitched the best in the NL and probably deserves it. But I think it would be a pretty cool moment for Bauer to win Cy Young.
I mean, literally, his last start, he was saying to the Cubs dugout, they were chirping the entire game, and in his press conference says, it's kind of funny how you can keep chirping after he said he shoved, after getting it shoved up your ass for 7 2/3 innings. I mean, how can you hate, I mean, boomers probably hate him, but how can, like, guys our age, or anyone our age, not like him? A guy that's pretty much fighting MLB to himself. Like, we just need, like, everyone to rally around Bauer. I mean, I remember Tim Anderson said something on an R2C2 podcast that he may have I don't know if he has a YouTube channel, but imagine Tim Anderson starting to do that video stuff with that White Sox team. Like, we just, to attract, like, pretty much to say baseball is dying. It's not dying. It's just they're too focused on keeping the traditions. But I agree with you. Having Bauer to be like the biggest fuck you to Rob Manfred.
Yeah, exactly.
But bold prediction, I wouldn't say bold. I believe Bauer in the offseason is going to go to San Diego.
That'd be fun. I could see that. I don't know what Bauer's going to do. The guy's so unpredictable, but I think whatever he does is going to be like talked about for years down the line, setting a precedent for like players sticking up for themselves. I can't really recall another time that's happened in the MLB. Like, obviously you have players who have crazy personalities and they're remembered for their craziness, but with like social media being a factor and everything, like we have never really seen a guy like Trevor Bauer, where this year is like probably the first year I would say where he's been dominant throughout the whole entire year. He's shown a lot in the past with the Indians, but you know, it was a roller coaster, and he obviously had a good postseason in 2017. But man, this guy is a Cy Young candidate. Probably not going to win it, but a Cy Young candidate who, on the surface, hates the league he plays for, hates the commissioner's office. Like, that's going to be talked about for a long time, especially if things start changing in the game. I think a lot of credit will go to him.
Yeah. We could talk about Bauer for hours on imagine getting him on a podcast, but let's go into one that's – I have an answer which probably is going to be wrong, but NL Rookie of the Year, I'm giving it to Sixto Sanchez.
Interesting. Here's another thing, like we talked about, like I just have a really, really hard – like I was looking, and when we said we were going to do awards for this episode, I looked at, you know, rookie numbers, and it was just really tough to single out people who have like 75 at-bats, 25 innings. Like, it's really tough. Like there was some guy like Kwon Kim from the Cardinals who I'd never even heard about, and he has like a 0.63 ERA, in 6 starts. I had no idea who that was. Sixto Sanchez obviously has been dominant since he got called up, but I don't know, it's just really tough. So I
Yeah,
guess I'll go along with you with Sixto Sanchez. Um,
I just love the guy.
if I think I wrote down like Alec Bone. Like he's having a nice little year
Yeah,
for a rookie, but like no one, I don't think anyone in the NL has really stood out. Gonsolin from I think that's how you say his name from the
yeah,
Dodgers. He's looked pretty good as a rookie. I don't know. There's no one really like that's like wow.
yeah.
We
The NL with the rookie of the year is kind of weak, but let's just go straight into the AL and let's actually continue with rookies. So AL Rookie of the Year. I know you and I talked about this before. We both agree it should go to Kyle Lewis. I mean, how can you not look at that Mariners team and just honestly be excited for them? I mean, Kyle Lewis, I saw he robbed a grand slam in the smoke as well.
yeah, no, that guy's. I'm really excited for what that guy's career is going to be like. He's a really really exciting player. When I saw him teeing off Justin, was it Justin Verlander or
Yeah, I think the first game, like he tees off
yeah,
Verlander.
I absolutely loved it. I like that he's a center fielder in the Mariners. I have a lot of affirmation for guys like that. Being Ken Griffey is my favorite player of all time, behind A-Rod. That's it. So he's probably they're 1-1A. But yeah, I really enjoy watching him play. I think he's going to be a really really solid player for a really long time. He's fast. He makes contact. He's a great defender, and he has a lot of pop, which I didn't know. I knew about him
Yeah,
for a while, but I didn't know he had this kind of pop. But it's like it's hard contact line drives. Like he's not swinging for the fences, you know. So it's sustainable. I think that he's going to be the AL Rookie of the Year. Also, Mountcastle has looked good when he came up from for Baltimore, but I don't think he's done enough to overtake.
yeah. You've
The
had
only
the only
guy,
other.
yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I think we're going to say
Yeah,
the same.
the only other guy that could wouldn't say challenge Kyle Lewis would be Luis Robert, and that's because they both have played the entire season. But I just to say one thing about the White Sox, I have to thank Eloy Jimenez for just making me laugh every time he makes a defensive gaffe. Like, I mean, the one where the ball went under the padding for Buxton when he could have just picked it up. The best one is when he fell into the netting and couldn't get up. But
He's a mess out there. He should be a DH. Um, I mean I know Eddie Encarnacion is gonna DH for them, but like man, that guy's rough out there. I hope they think he's like their everyday left fielder going forward for the future. I don't think that they're pretty smart. So, but yeah, man, that guy's it's not DH unless like when Jose Abreu is kind of getting up there in age. So maybe when
yeah, all I know
he
is he
retires.
came from Cuba, so he wasn't like 21 when he came here. I believe he was in
And
his
I
mid
think he's like
20s.
he's in like his mid 30s, but
Yeah.
he's not slowing down at all.
No.
But yeah, maybe when he retires, they think about moving him to first. But either way, that like core team, the core of that team is dangerous. They're pretty
Yeah,
scary.
it's scary. So let's go into AL Cy Young. I mean, this does not need any conversation. I
Right.
think we both agree. I mean, it's Shane Bieber, no one else. I
Yeah, no,
mean,
this doesn't need any conversation. It's 100% Davy Garcia, and you know, there's not, nah, yeah, it's
I I see nothing wrong with that.
yeah, no, it's Bieber. He leads like the league in everything. He's been good since he got called up. Really, I remember he pitched against the Yankees on like Players Weekend in 2017, and Luke Voigt just hit another home run. No, double.
Jesus. Luke Voigt. Actually, on the topic of Luke Voigt, let's go straight into AL MVP. We both agree. Like, we're putting Yankee bias aside. Just looking at, as we did, what that award means. Valuable player. You take Luke Voigt, the MLB leader in home runs, I think slugging as well, away from the New York Yankees on 1 foot. They do nothing.
Yeah, no, it's to me, it's obviously I want to say it's not even close. I think Jose Abreu's had an amazing year. He homered again today. He leads league in RBIs. He has a really good batting average, good on base percentage. He's improved his defense, and this is nothing to take away from him. But again, it's that same conversation of what does value mean? Who's been the most valuable player? And if I'm being completely honest, Yankee bias aside, and maybe I can't put it aside because I've only watched Yankee games really. Um, I think Luke Voit has been the most valuable player in Major League Baseball, period. Because if you look at all the MLB MVP candidates this year, I don't think you can take another guy off their team and it'll have the same impact of taking off Luke Voit out of the Yankees, especially what we just watched the Yankees go through and how he basically they were hanging by a thread to a playoff spot. And the only reason they were still hanging by that thread was because Luke Voit was in the lineup and now has 19 home runs and like 45 RBIs and holding down first base. If Luke Voit was out of that lineup and we had to go Mike Ford, who's hitting like less than 100 this year, we would not even. I think we would be in like last or fourth place in the division. The Orioles would have overtaken us, and we would have been a shit show. But that guy kept us above water.
And, I mean, they won't put this into consideration, but he's doing it on 1 foot. I mean, and he's honestly improved his defense. But I will say one thing about Voit. There was one play this year where it was a ground ball to first, and he went to second. Luke Voit throws so weird. It's like submarine style, but hey, it's working. I mean, but if you just look at, we're not just saying it's because he's hitting for power. He's also, for the most part, hitting for average until he hit is a little bit of a slump. I mean, every time he's up, he's going to give you that quality at bat. And yeah, don't get me wrong, Jose Abreu is having a great year, but they got so many pieces there. You take him away, I feel like they still could make it to the playoffs. But like as you said, the Yankees is the same conversation of Judge in 2017. You take Judge away from that team, they do nothing. You take Voit away from this team, we don't even sniff the playoffs, and we probably finished for the first time in 20 years under 500.
Yeah, no, I mean even Judge in 2017. Well, Judge, that's different because Judge was just better than Altuve anyway. But we'll leave that in the past. But yeah, no, I think that if this was a normal year, well, I guess this is the new normal of the Yankees just being hurt all the time. But if the Yankees weren't completely decimated by injuries this year, maybe this isn't like the same discussion because obviously the Yankees roster on paper is stacked. So you could say like if Voit doesn't perform, we still have Judge, we still have Stanton, we still have Glaber, we still have Gary performing. Like we have Garrett Cole now. So I get that part, but it's not the case this year. The Yankees have been without Judge since like early August, without Stanton since before that. Glaber's been on and off the DL. Gary hasn't hit all year.
Gary's honestly he might as well be hurt. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. So like Garrett Cole went through a really bad rough patch a couple weeks ago. The whole team really did. So Luke Voit has been the only shining star on this Yankee team for the entire season, like full from opening day until September 17th. He has been there. He has produced, and he's been the most valuable player to me in the entire MLB.
I mean, no one expected him to. Oh, Stanton just singled. Let's go, Stanton.
Well, my stream is behind.
I'm on a at bat on my phone. But yeah, I mean, we've said this time and time again. Like I'm putting Yankee bias aside. I mean, if there was a better player right now, I would say that. I mean, I would say before Judge's injury, he was on track to be the MVP.
Yeah, I think so.
But let me actually pose a little bit of a question before we wrap this up. Do you think I think Shane Bieber is gonna get some MVP votes?
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I don't think he's gonna win MVP, but if this was a full season, I can 100% see Shane Bieber winning MVP.
The only reason I'm going to disagree is just because Shane Bieber, obviously, again, like the whole, like, I think shortstop, starting pitcher, and catcher. Those are the three most important positions on a baseball team, which is why I think Voit and Abreu, it's tough for some people to give them the vote, but you can't shy away from the seasons that they're having. Bieber is interesting because the Indians are a playoff team, but they're an 8th seed. In this new format, it's kind of weird because the Astros are under 500 and they're a higher seed than the Indians.
Don't cut the Mariners out. They're coming. They're coming.
Listen, it's gonna be an interesting like last week and a half of the season to see how things shake out. But I just have a problem. I have trouble giving a a guy who pitches once every 5 days in a 60-game season MVP votes. If your team is like, if you're not the sole reason your team is in the position that they're in, it's tough, and it's just hard to do that when a guy has 12 starts in a year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't knock anyone who gives him votes, but I definitely don't think he should win it this year. Cy Young, absolutely. But yeah, if you only play 12 times out of 60 games, it's tough to say you're the most valuable player.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all we got for everyone. Hopefully, this last week of baseball, our last 2 weeks, is gonna be crazy. So buckle up and everyone stay safe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep, we'll have some surprises for you all next week too.
Yep.